So, by a show of hands, how many in the audience have kids or young relatives in their family? Okay, great. Now, how many of you all have asked them, what do they want to be when they grow up? Cool. Now, I'm sure we've all been asked that question once, twice, maybe 1,000 times in our lives. I'm an adult and I still get asked that question. It's just worded a tad bit differently. And you know, some kids, they want to be doctors or firefighters. Some kids want to play sports or blast off into outer space. But when I was asked that question as a kid, I said with all of my big enthusiasm, I want to make video games, man. I'm a tried and true gamer. One of my favorite genres is fighting games. So that's Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, games like that. So every time I would get a game, I would take the booklet out, I would open it up, and I would draw every character. And I did this for every game, I kid you not. And so game after game and drawing after drawing, I knew I wanted to combine my love of playing video games and my love of drawing the characters. So I found that combination in animation, and coincidentally, Jacksonville University offered a computer animation program. So I started my journey in August 2007. My time at JU was pretty cool. I had some really cool professors, I made some really amazing friends, and everything was going how I wanted it to. But I started to doubt myself. I took a look at all of my professors and all of the artists at so many animation studios, and it hit me. There's not a lot of black artists in the industry. So I started thinking, there's no way I could do this. So I go into my senior year wondering, what am I going to do? I was panicking, I was upset, I was all over the place. But something strange happened. An artist named Donovan Howard applied to teach illustration at JU. So I went to his portfolio presentation and I was absolutely blown away. I mean, his work was amazing. He was an animator at Disney and he worked on Treasure Planet, Fantasia 2000, and The Emperor's New Groove. And not only was all of his work phenomenal, but he's a black guy like me. So I said, wait. We're gonna have a black professor who's an artist, and he's legit. Oh, you know what, I can't graduate this year. I'm sorry, we have to postpone that. I have to learn from this guy. And it was at that moment that I knew I could pursue my dreams as an artist. I mean, if he could do it, I knew I had a shot. I had a role model. And this is why I believe that diversity and equity in arts education is important. Diversity provides that variety, but equity, it supports it. It puts people in positions of power to support that variety or that diversity. They both allow for role models for so many art students who look for artists that look like them. Diversity paints an amazing picture, but framing it with equity, that's what makes it complete. So diversity has become a sort of buzzword as of late. Everyone's talking about diversity this and diversity that, and for a good reason. I've researched 3 of the top art programs on the East Coast, and I found some pretty eye-opening information. My research centered on ethnicity. Some of the professors didn't have photos of themselves available on each school's website, but they did have photos available elsewhere, in press releases, on LinkedIn, a social media network for professionals, and on their personal portfolio websites. But there were a few professors that didn't have any photos available at all, so I categorized them in a no photo group. My research is mainly based on my observations. And now that may not be the most ideal or the standard, but as an art student and as a person of color, this is something that we pick up on when we're looking for jobs or looking for schools to attend. And just for clarification, the terms person of color or people of color, they're inclusive terms, and they include all non-white racial and ethnic groups. So that's just to give you all a heads up. But let's go ahead and start here in Florida with Ringling College of Art and Design, located in Sarasota. Ringling has nationally recognized art programs and houses 160 faculty members, with 80% of them having photos available. But this is where it gets interesting. Of that group, 97% of their faculty appear to be white men and women, while the remaining 3% are men and women of color. But let's move farther up the East Coast to Scad, the Savannah College of Art and Design, located in Savannah, Georgia. Scad has approximately 340 faculty members, with 90% of them having photos available. And of that group, 87% of their faculty appear to be white men and women, while the remaining 13% are men and women of color. And finally, SVA, the School of Visual Arts, located in New York City, has one of the largest faculty of any art school in the country. SVA houses over 700 professors, with nearly 90% of them having photos available. And of that group, 87% of their faculty appear to be white men and women, while the remaining 13% are men and women of color. Now, New York City is considered one of the most culturally diverse cities in the country. Many people migrate to New York City so they can pursue their passions and follow their dreams. As art students, what we like to do, we like to research our professors and see what they've worked on, what they are working on, their accomplishments and their accolades. But as art students of color, we also look at the composition of the faculty. One look at the faculty of a major art school like SVA, for example, is enough to make us question not only our place at the institution, but in the art world. And this is why diversity is important. But along with diversity is the importance of equity. Equity essentially is fairness. But along with fairness, it's support and structural change for artists of color. And this is what I mean by support and structural change. Let's think of art as a garden, for example. Sowing the seeds of diversity is great, but when we support that with sunlight, with water, with equity, it allows the garden to bloom, to be robust, and to flourish. It's critical to see these types of changes not only in educational institutions, but artistic establishments, such as museums, theaters, and organizations that support the arts. Equity happens at the top of the food chain. When there are changes made at the top, the effects trickle all the way down. And then this chain reaction that happens, that's diversity and equity working hand in hand. But Marq, why do we need diversity and equity? Why are they important? They're important because we don't receive the entirety of what art has to offer. I mean, think about it. You can't see a full color wheel looking at only one hue, so we can't experience the fullness of art looking at it through only one perspective. And let's be honest, people of color, we've always been here. The whole time we've always been here. We've been thriving, celebrating our culture, and creating some pretty amazing artwork. The arts have the ability to take us on journeys to so many different realms, but just imagine all of the new and immense worlds that we can visit if we celebrated art at its most vibrant. But also, equity allows for proper representation. Marginalized groups can create the narrative, and we can tell our stories vividly and accurately. Our voices and our experiences, they're legitimized after we've been told for so long that our existence is either tolerated or invalidated. Everyone represents something. You can represent your family name, your heritage, your alma mater, your favorite teams, groups that you're a part of, even the towns and cities that you're from. And everyone deserves a chance to represent. Equitable representation is not only important, but it's also pretty awesome. So check this out. What I want you all to do, crowd participation, what I want you all to do is think about your favorite meal. It can be breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. It could be Thanksgiving, since that's right around the corner. And I want you to think about the quality of the ingredients that goes into it. Think about the sizzles in the pans, the rumbling of the water in the pots, those sounds. And then how those sounds transform into this aroma. An aroma where we can tell how potent some spices are, how muted some herbs are, and this harmonious balance that happens. The balance that we taste. The layers, the textures, the flavors, the depth, the love. That bowl or that plate that you just thought about is everything. The presentation is stellar, the experience is unmatched, and it's simply amazing. And the exact same thing happens in other art forms. When you have all of these flavors present, when the herbs and the spices, they dance with the other ingredients and infuse them with new life, a masterpiece is made. something that everybody can deeply and fully appreciate. So the question remains, did I ever make those video games that I talked about all the way in the beginning? Well, not yet, but I have gone down many different routes on my journey as an artist. I've created some pretty cool graphics and animations that have been on TV. I've worked with some amazing, amazing businesses and entrepreneurs, and I'm here on this TEDx stage, all because one artist showed up at the right time and gave me hope. And I'm sure there are other artists and art students that are in the same situation I was in during my senior year of college. But with more diversity and more equity, more and more doors are open. So what better time than now, than right now, to burst through those doors and make room for all of that amazing talent, to tell their stories, to create some stellar artwork, and to represent. Thank you.